All right, all right, all right. We are live. We have 3 ticks: Facebook, LinkedIn, or the metaverse, as apparently they want to be known as. LinkedIn and YouTube, we are live. Welcome back, everybody. We're running a few minutes late. I've not long finished a speaking engagement with the wonderful Crown Leadership International. So thank you again to them for having me. I'm starting to feel like I'm part of the furniture these days. I've been there a few times now. And certainly if you are looking for something different, someone different, and want to have some insights into customer, employee, and human experiences in your organization, feel free to hit me up. I love talking and teaching, and we certainly know how to have a good time, don't we? So if you haven't joined us before and you've just seen this button and you thought, hell, I'll just click it, see what happens. Well, welcome to Pandora's Box. No, just jokes. I'm Aileen Day. I am the founder of Aileen Day Advisory, value-driven brand, and Meraki Business Solutions. We all know I like to stay busy and have my finger in multiple pies. And what we do here every Wednesday is we talk about the joy of sex. That's right, you might see behind me, that's the customer, employee, and human experience. So today is no different. Today, off the back of my speaking engagement, we're going to continue that conversation, and we're going to talk about dealing with inner conflict and how that applies to the human experience. So if you are online watching us live, I can see a few of you are, make sure you feel free to join the chat and say hi, and by all means, I would love to hear how you deal with your inner conflict. And the reason that we're talking about inner conflict is because I've just finished doing a talk around managing workplace conflict. And one of the things that I have over a period of time, come to learn and understand to be true is that really the ultimate block to dealing with other people's conflict is when you haven't dealt with your own. And so it's so important that if we are in a leadership position, maybe you're a business owner, maybe you're an entrepreneur, maybe you don't have team members, but you certainly might have subcontractors, or you certainly, I hope, are on your way to having customers, that you are going to be faced with different challenges and different conflicts from day to day. And some of those might be conflicts in regards to the tasks that you have to do. Some of them might be conflicts with relationships. It's probably one of the most common ones. Or it might be that we have what's called a values conflict. And if you've tuned in previously, you would know that I fangirl over a gentleman called David Allison, who is the founder of an organization called Value Graphics. And what David does is he is slowly but surely teaching the world how to apply an understanding of not just demographics, not just ethnographics, not just psychographics, but value graphics, because over and over and over again, he and his team have been able to scientifically prove that ultimately value graphics is the key driver to sales. It is the key driver to success. Understanding what people value before caring about how old they are or where they've come from is the ideal for our next generation of business. So if you haven't connected with him on LinkedIn, please go, and I'll put his details in the chat as well. But David Allison, which is double L, so Allison. Tell him Aileen said hi, and please go and consume his content around value graphics. And I'd love to hear how you think you can apply it to the way that you do business. So some of you might know and some of you might not that recently I have taken on what is called a diploma in clinical hypnotherapy and psychotherapy counseling. So it's going to be very, very fun because now I'm going to be qualified to play with people's minds. In a good way, of course. I love helping people and I love creating better performance for the people that I work with. And ultimately, the first thing that comes to us when we need to create better performance is looking within. And so when we think about all of the conflict, and if you're dealing with conflict at the moment, I'd love to hear what type of conflict you're dealing with. Whether it be conflict with the kids, maybe they're, not really wanting to go back to school. Maybe they don't want to come home. Maybe they're loving life and independence so much they're like, no, we want to stay here forever. Who knows? It might be at work. Your team might be becoming disengaged. You might find that your boss, for example, is not treating you the same way they used to. I was about to say he, but I'm not going to put genders in there. They who, maybe they aren't treating you the way that you were used to being treated. Maybe that's a good thing. Who knows? But we have conflict all around us. And we also have different ways of dealing with conflict. And one of my most favorite conversations that I've ever had was with one of my colleagues and friends, Danny, about what was called an inward and an outward mindset. So he, as a representative for the Arbinger Institute, which is Arbinger. I feel like I'm on a spelling bee. Danny Ginsberg, if you also look him up on LinkedIn, you will also see some really wonderful content around what is known as an inward and an outward mindset. So the Arbinger Institute did a whole bunch of research and they decreed that there's two types of mindsets when it comes to dealing with humans. And especially when we have to deal with conflict management. So one of them is the inward mindset. Now, plenty of us have probably not just experienced others doing the inward mindset, but have likely done it ourselves. We have likely not realized what we're doing, but an inward mindset is essentially where you avoid having hard discussions or facing conflict because it doesn't sit right with you. It might be in real terms, it actually becomes quite a selfish mindset because in reality, for you to not manage conflict, for you to not face up to it, especially if you're in a leadership position, is doing the people that need you to stand up and face it a disservice. But, it might show its face in different ways. It might be, John's such a nice guy. I doubt he did it. I doubt it was that serious. I'm sure it'll be fine, right? Or it might be, shit's going to hit the fan. They're going to get really upset. Maybe I'll just wait till Friday. I'll talk, and I say this from personal experience, maybe I'll just talk to them on Friday. 3 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, you could guarantee my office door got closed, and my boss at the time would say, we need to talk. The 3 words that could trigger me the most. We need to talk. So it wasn't even the words, it was the behavior. I knew at 3 p.m. that was his MO. He didn't have an outward mindset. And an outward mindset is completely the opposite. An outward mindset is thinking less about self and more about others. So it's considering, I know this is uncomfortable for me, but it is my role to help others do better. So, for example, and I'll use myself as an example because there's certainly no realm where I'm perfect. I mean, close to it, but not totally. I would love one day if my old boss sits here and watches these. Hi. Anyway, back to business. Let's say, for example, I did something and it wasn't up to the expectations, or it was maybe a bit left of center than they were expecting. Please don't wait until the end of the week to raise it, to bring it up as a conversation that needs a rectification or a resolution, because it is done. It is past. It is gone. And you are not doing anybody a favor or any service whatsoever by waiting for a period of time to lapse before you get the guts to come up and be upfront and honest. Because to be honest, when that would happen, the feedback would wash over me. Because in reality, so many other things had occurred between that period of time that I didn't either remember it accurately, but because he'd been festering on it, he probably made it a bigger deal than it needed to be. And therefore, the conversation couldn't be productive. It couldn't be candid. It ended up becoming more of an argument or an act of defense, right? And so then the other part of it was I would walk away on a Friday afternoon hating life. I would walk into my weekend upset and pissed off. So from an employee experience, you can imagine how that creates a damaging culture, right? But the reality is that many of us have our own shit going on. And a lot of the time, that's why we get into avoiding other people's conflict, because we can't deal with our own crap. So what I want to kind of talk about today is, how do you deal with your own shit? And to be blunt, that is really what it is. It is learning how to deal with yourself so that you can then go and put those techniques and apply them to those around you. And that's not to say there are so many ways to skin this snake. But the reality is that unless you feel that worth within yourself, that comfort within yourself, you probably won't be in a position, to help others. And I really want you to understand that's what you're there for. You know, a lot of my clients now and in the past have never had leadership experience. They started their business has started to grow. Now they're employing people. They've never been in charge of people. And so now they're like, oh my God, these people have so much shit going on. Like every day is something. I'm like, yeah, that's the human experience. People have their own lives going on. People have their own fears, their own challenges, their own conflicts. And so if you can't manage yours, how the hell are you meant to manage somebody else's effectively, right? Because we all get to this point where we're like, I'm done. I'm like up to here, past done. I can't consume anybody else's issues. But it is your job. It is your business. It is, in the sense, your business that it's your organization. But to a point, their business is now your business. And you have to help them create a flow where they learn to do it either differently or better, where they learn to manage their own inner conflict, and where they learn to help others along the way, so that it doesn't become this snowball issue where today, you know, how many of us have had bosses where we're like telling the rest of the team, they're pissed off, just be careful, like walk on eggshells, they're in a bad mood, don't talk to them, right? That goes down the line. The way that you show up and lean in, that goes down the line. If people see you, you know, around the organization being upfront, honest, candid, you know, I've just had a whole conversation about introducing candid conversations into your organization. And if you don't know what that looks and feels like, it feels like people being upfront and honest. And sometimes when we're not used to that experience, that can kind of throw us for six a little. When we hear what people actually are thinking, And it's not to say that they get to be blunt or rude or insensitive, but it means that we are being upfront, we are being timely, and we are being transparent about what we think and how we feel. And that in a culture can be dynamic, and that in a culture can be game changing for the way that you handle not just your conflict within the workplace, but the conflict within yourself, because you start to learn to take that candidness and apply it to yourself, right? You might hear people say, oh, they're a no bullshit person. They don't take shit. Well, I bet you they also don't take shit from themselves either. You know, I have got to this point now where if I am feeling certain emotions or something pisses me off, or I have to actually now sit there and ask myself the question, what is coming up for you? Why are you reacting like this? Why are you responding like this? And the more that you start to learn about your own inner conflict, the more, and the candidness, the candid conversations that you can have with yourself, the more you can start to understand how being upfront and honest with yourself can apply to being upfront and honest with your team. But I'm going to preface it with this. Introducing a candid culture or a candid way of communicating in your culture also relies on people not getting butt hurt and there then being consequences. Because if that is how that happens, that you say, yes, please be upfront, please be honest, please tell me what you think and how you feel, and then someone says, I really hate this project and I feel like we're just throwing money down the drain and it doesn't ultimately improve any of the customer, employee, or human experiences, the three things, the three pillars that your organization should revolve around, then I don't want you to go, well, fuck you, that's my baby, and I've worked really hard on that, rah, 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 because that is a consequence of them being upfront and candid with you. You're now attacking them. You're now getting defensive. And yeah, okay, that might hurt your heart a little bit to hear those truths, but that is their truth. And you asked them to be candid. You didn't ask them to sugarcoat shit. You asked them to be upfront and honest. So if you ask people to be upfront and honest, please don't break them for doing that. And the best thing you can do is go, wow, that is some really great feedback. And we've all been working really hard on this and we've invested a lot of time, but let's do something to understand where you're coming from. Can you see already the difference in how that mitigates potential workplace conflict? And you've also done this wonderful thing. You've created trust because you said, hey, I want you to tell me what you think and how you feel. And they've done that and nothing bad's happened. So they feel comfortable every single time to start going, hey, I can do that again. Oh, look, nothing bad happened. Oh, look, nothing bad happened. Now, the sad part is that I've experienced personally leaders who have said, just tell me what you think. And I told you what I think. And friends, oh, don't even get me started. You know, friends ask for my opinion, my insights, and if it's not what they want to hear, you know, shit breaks loose. And it's a really saddening feeling because essentially you trusted them to, you know, do what they asked you, which was to give them honest feedback, and they didn't like your feedback. So even if it was factual and impartial and, you know, said with wonderful intentions and, you know, candid, people struggle because that is not a culture that we have. But if it is a culture that you could engage into your organization, I promise you, you are already miles ahead when it comes to managing workplace conflict. and mitigating workplace conflict, because everybody knows where they stand. How many of us have worked with somebody or interacted with somebody and said, you know what, the good thing about that person is you always know where you stand. I love that with people. Now, I know sometimes I'm a little bit different, but I hate ambiguity. I hate not knowing. I hate just guessing. Like, oh, are they okay? Like, are they just gonna like walk off and blow up, or is that feedback actually going to sit well with them, or am I going to have to look for a new job because I was upfront and honest with them? Am I going to have to look for a new friend because I was upfront and honest with them? So take away the ambiguity for people and just be candid with them. It takes practice, but practice makes possible, according to my son's parkour teacher. So when we think about dealing with other people's conflict, I want you to consider having that outward mindset. And before I let you go, I'm going to do a little activity with you to consider your own inner conflict. So if you are in the process of working through a conflict at the moment, and it might be, one of the three that we talked about, it might be a task conflict, it might be a relationship conflict, or it might be a values conflict. I want you to take on this small technique that I have recently learned, and we look slightly ridiculous doing it, but I promise you it's backed by science. The science is there and it proves that it works. And basically what we're doing is we are working with our body with what's known as the Meridian points. So many of us would have heard of treatments such as acupuncture. And in essence, what we're doing for our own inner conflict is that we are making the blockages within our body. Our body is energy. Albert Einstein said it to be true. It's not, me being a weird hippie. Our body is made up of energy, right? We put energy in, we consume energy, we let energy out. Our body flows with energy. And the reality is that when we have an inner conflict, a conflict within ourselves, that energy is blocked and we need to make it flow so that we have the capacity to deal with other people's energies and other people's conflicts. So before you go and put yourself into a position where maybe you are about to go and face somebody's conflict or your own, I want you to take on this technique. And if you want to learn more about it or you want a copy of the technique, you can either look up, it's called EFT, so Emotional Freedom Technique. And it is basically tapping the meridian points. So in acupuncture, we have, we call them pressure points, but they're called meridian points through our face and our upper region. So I'm going to take my glasses off for this. And if you are watching live, I want you to do this with me. All right. We can look ridiculous together and it's totally fine because I can't see you and neither can anybody else. So, it's just me looking ridiculous. But I promise you, it works, right? The science is there. It is a proven strategy to mitigate and to reduce the symptoms and feelings that are associated with inner conflict. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to put your fingers on your collarbone, right? And I want you to run your fingers down slightly just under your collarbone around here. And there will be a section on either side, sometimes both, where you go, oh, ow, that hurts. So for me, it's on my right side, all right? And I want you to just gently push on that and you can feel that it's a bit sore. It's actually called, scientifically, the sore spot. Not even joking. Science, I love it. All right, so once you've gently found that sore spot, I want you to take a deep breath in, right? So breathe with me, right? Right. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to do what's called tapping. And so we're going to be using the meridian points on our body to slowly but surely deflate that sore point. So also, while you're doing it, I want you to think about that thing that is causing you conflict, right? For me at the moment, it is maybe that my family member who runs a business doesn't want to do anything business related except the one thing that she loves doing, and it is frustrating me, right? So, and if she's watching this, just do it. That's not how you influence people, by the way. I haven't tried that. Maybe I should. But anyway, so I want you to think about the thing that is causing you inner conflict. And while you are doing the activity, all the while, I want you to repeat after me. So I want you to start gently tapping on the center of your head. And I want you to think about the thing that is causing you conflict. And then I want you to say, but I love and respect myself. But I love and respect myself. But I love and respect myself. And then I want you to move to the front of your eyebrow. So you can see here, gently tapping between your eyebrow, which I recently got an eyebrow wax, and I was so happy that I cried. That's right, people. That's what happens when you're Greek and you have a monobrow in lockdown. Not even joking. I was very emotional. Anyway, so back to the center of our eyebrow, and we're breathing deeply, and I love and respect myself. And then we're going to move to the side of our eye, just gently tapping, and I love and respect myself. And then under our eye, but I love and respect myself. And then under our nose, but I love and respect myself. And then under our chin or under our lip, but I love and respect myself. And then we're going to find that spot, and we're going to gently, outside, gently, and you can use your fist, just gently tapping on that spot. But I love and respect myself, right? And then I want you to do that 3 times. So the activity takes about 5 minutes once you do it 3 times. So we're starting at the top of our head, moving down to the center of our eyebrow, to the side of our eye, under our nose, under our chin, and then to the section just under our collarbone where we can feel the pain. And I promise you that after you do that 3 times, you will go and you will push on this section of your collarbone where it initially felt sore, and you won't feel sore. Already just doing that once and not even completely properly, mine already isn't sore. And the reason that it isn't sore is because by pushing on those meridian points and gently tapping away at the energy that is blocked in those points, you are helping the energy and the conflict and the emotions and the toxicity that goes and flows through your body to move. So already doing that once, I feel calmer. I feel more aligned to being able to help other people. I feel less aggravated by my initial inner conflict. And I would love to hear how you feel after you do it a few times as well. So please, it is so important that for us as leaders that we look after ourselves. And because until we start to look after ourselves, we are usually in no position to look after others. As they say, put your own oxygen mask on first. How can you help others if you're passed out, right? If you're burnt out, if you are emotional, if you are incapable of thinking outwardly, How are you serving those that are there to serve you? So that's pretty much it for me today. We will be back, maybe next Wednesday. We might be going back to weekly because school goes back. How exciting. That is so exciting. I'm also in the chat going to put my newsletter link. Please feel free to sign up and join me every month for the 411 with Aileen Day, where we talk about different things from the customer, the employee, and the human experience like we have today. And join me on my little journey as I become a clinical hypnotherapist and psychotherapist counselor, which that's always going to be fun. And also a new fun thing that I will be doing starting next Tuesday. So just in case you don't watch this today, so Tuesday, the 2nd of November, I will start to be going live on Instagram. So if you haven't, please join me on Instagram, Aileen Day Official. It's Aileen_Day_official. And every Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. Melbourne time, I will be going live to answer your questions. So different to this, where we give you tips and tricks about your having great sex in your organization. The point of going live on Instagram is to answer your questions. So please join me every Tuesday morning. If you have questions about how you can improve your customer experience, your employee experience, or the human experience in your business, please come and join me on Instagram on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Melbourne time. I'm really looking forward to it, hoping it's not going to be a total flop. But who knows? You got to be in it to win it, right? But ultimately, it's just another way for me to get in touch with how you are doing business and help you create the joy of sex in your organization. So that is it from me today. I look forward to hopefully seeing you online on Instagram next Tuesday. Otherwise, we'll be going live on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube on Wednesday as well. Until then, please go and deliver value to somebody else in your life, because we all know what goes around comes around. I'm Aileen Day. Until next time.